This is Smith Wesson FPC Folding Pistol Carbine Review 1. Portions of today's video were filmed at the beautiful Banner Shooting Range. Let's hit the range! Face ain't close to that. We gotta go. Bullseye. Okay, let's now try to get this one kind of close. Here we go. Jesus, this one's like pretty much right on, right out the gate. That's awesome. Okay, I'm just gonna aim at the center bullseye again. And my count is spot on. It's always awesome. In today's video, we're taking a look at the Smith & Wesson FPC, or Folding Pistol Carbine. You will often hear me refer to this firearm as the Fold in today's video. The FPC is a pistol caliber carbine chambered in 9mm Luger with a blowback action. This firearm was first released in 2023. It is 30.4 inches long, 2.5 inches wide, 8 inches high, and weighs in at 80.42 ounces unloaded. In the United States where I live, this firearm is considered a rifle in the eyes of the law and would be placed in the carbine class of rifles. The firearm has a 16.25 inch steel barrel with an aluminum frame and polymer grip. The pistol grip is the Smith & Wesson Compact Shield Grip, which allows the rifle to use both compact and full-size shield magazines. Speaking of magazines, the firearm comes with not one, not two, but 3 magazines. You get 2 23-round and 1 17-round magazine with this rifle. The firearm comes optics ready, which we often say means no sights, good luck. Some people will try and say that helps keep the price of the firearm down. But I say nay in this case. While this is one of the more budget-friendly PCCs on the market, it's not priced so low that the lack of sights is a valid excuse to get there in my book. Smith & Wesson are far from the only manufacturer who plays this optics-ready game, and like most of them, in lieu of sights, the firearm has a decent Magpul slimline foregrip with M-lock slots for attachments and the Picatinny rail for sights and optics. We're going to discuss the rail and sights in a moment. Opposite the business end is the stock. This is a non-adjustable stock with storage slots for 2 magazines. The defining feature of the FPC is that it folds. The FPC is far from the first pistol caliber carbine to fold in half, and isn't the first to break in half at the barrel. though I would say it's a more unique style of fold. Instead of what we'll call the hot dog style of folds like the Caltech, the FPC folds in what we're calling hamburger style. Folded in half, the length of the firearm goes from 30.4 inches down to about 16.5 inches. Though of course, the width doubles. Included with the firearm is a carrying case designed to easily carry the firearm in its folded configuration. To me, the case looks similar to a courier's pack, though I would have preferred it had backpack straps instead of the crossbody strap it currently has. Now let's take a moment to quickly discuss the firearm we brought as the measuring stick, the CZ Scorpion Evo 3 S1. In today's video, you will often hear me refer to this firearm simply as the Scorpion. The Scorpion we are shooting today is also a pistol caliber carbine chambered in 9mm Luger with blowback action. CZ makes a few different versions of Scorpions, including pistols that many people go the short-barreled rifle route with. In the United States where I live, the Scorpion we are shooting today is legally considered a rifle. Similar to the Fold, it is in the carbine class of rifles. The Scorpion is 34 3/4 inches long, 2.36 inches high, 10.31 inches wide, and weighs in at 7 pounds unloaded. The firearm has a 16.2-inch cold hammer forged barrel. It is otherwise mostly polymer. The polymer shell of this firearm makes it appear bigger and what we're going to call more aggressive versus what the parts under the hood would otherwise make you believe. With magazines available with capacity ranging from 10 rounds up to 100 or more, there is a wide variety of magazine capacity variety out there. However, unlike the Fold, the Scorpion uses Scorpion magazines, not magazines from a family of firearms. Scorpion owners are indifferent to this, but where firearms like the Fold are concerned, magazine interchangeability between your pistol and your rifle is a selling point. One advantage and reason for carrying a pistol caliber carbine is they allow you to carry a single caliber of ammo for use in multiple firearms. When those firearms also support the same magazine, you have even more flexibility. In addition to magazine differences, some other major differences between the Scorpion and the Fold are the stock and the Picatinny rail. The stock on the Scorpion we are shooting is adjustable in length. It also folds. While this fold is at the rear of the frame instead of the front where the frame meets the barrel, we're still going to consider it a folding carbine for the purposes of today's video. When folded, the length of the firearm goes from 34 3/4 inches down to 24.5 inches. Not quite as compact in length as the Fold, but the stock on the Scorpion is narrower, so you don't have quite the width gain. For some, the differences in sights and rail will be huge. CZ comes with iron sights. Originally, they came with a nice set of metal CZ sights, though I believe in later years they were replaced with Magpul Embus sights. We're going to come back to that rail in the conclusion. We have briefly covered the numbers and some differences. Now let's quickly mention some similarities. Both firearms have barrels in the 16.25 inch range. While the frame of the Scorpion makes one feel otherwise, it has the similar pencil-style barrel of the Fold. Both are suppressor ready, threaded with a 1/2 by 28 thread pattern to support many popular suppressors available today. Both firearms have ambidextrous safeties and magazine releases. The Fold has a cross bolt safety, though they say thumb safety on their website for some reason. CZ has a thumb safety that many Scorpion fans are not a fan of. Its placement is uncomfortable in relation to one's index finger, in my opinion. The magazine release on the Scorpion is an index finger push forward style, while the Fold has a thumb button style magazine release. I have trouble hitting this magazine release button with my dominant hand and often find myself instead using my offhand to hit the magazine release on the Fold. Now before we get into our final talking points, let's head back to that range one more time. The scope's at 3 power, which is, you might want to, whatever, we're just going to leave it at 3 power. I feel like that's fair compared to what we got. Here we go. Helps if you put your magazine in and charge your weapon. Alright, here we go. Just make sure we go. Face too close to that. Here we go. Ideally, I'll be slightly above the bullseye with my first shot. Pull it down a little bit. I don't know, maybe a quarter-sized hole out there. You still with us, target man? Still with us, all right. Okay, same thing. Top right target, time with the scorpion. I feel like this has 3 times magnification. Might only be 2, but whatever, it's close enough. Here we go. Ignore the 2 hits at the very bottom. All right. Are you with us? Oh no. The target cam was lost to the cold. Let's change the battery. Okay, what we're going to do now is 10 shots of 115 grain. This is Sierra Outdoor Master 115 grain copper jacketed hollow point. Turns out the Smith Wesson cannot use the Scorpion magazines. Who knew? Okay, bottom left target, 10 shots. Ignore the hits at the upper right corner unless we start patterning there. Here we go. Ten shots, bottom right bullseye. Taking a quick look at the targets, we have the fold targets on the left side, scorpion targets on the right side, with the middle target being the one we use to sight in our optics today. I'm considering these groups comparable. We have reached the conclusion to yet another video. If you've made it this far, think about liking and subscribing the video. They don't cost you anything, but help us continue to do positive things with firearms related content. As far as accuracy and reliability between the firearms we looked at today goes, I'm considering things a wash so far. We have had 0 failures with either firearm, and the groups have been what I'm considering comparable. One very important note here is we have not yet stretched the legs on this FPC. The targets so far have been set up at 25 yards. This firearm is absolutely capable of engaging targets well beyond that, so why have we given it the short treatment? The one-word answer is eye relief. Let's do a quick flashback to the first magazine fired through the firearm. This is from a few weeks ago when the polar vortex was in town for a visit, and Daryl's was gracious enough to allow us access to their indoor range for some relief from the cold. Thanks, Daryl's. You guys rock. Here's the first 10 rounds through the firearm. Nice. Oh, there it is. Okay. That's uncomfortable.
You all right?
Yeah. Does this move back? We're going to come back to that wing face jab in a moment, because it is also an important takeaway from that video clip. But the first mentionable is the sights and eye relief. While it is not obvious in that video, the first sight setup I tried on the FPC was iron sights with the red dot you now see on the Scorpion. It was very capable in such a setup, but where I found myself wanting was when it came time to engage the duck hunt challenge targets set up at 25 yards. With the red dot and iron sights, I was completely oblivious to the fact there were little duckies on the page. I went to toss my quick flip magnifier on, and here's where the eye relief problem comes in. The optics rail on the FPC does not go far enough down the firearm to allow me to use my magnifier. Of the various scopes and magnifiers I had, I didn't have anything with enough eye relief to allow it to work. There are options out there, but in my neck of the woods, in my special effects budget, options are limited, with most being out of stock. With other firearms like the Scorpion, I could order something off the inner tubes and be fairly confident it would work without issue. Because I want something with a little magnification combined with the rail on this FPC, this is why you see that scout scope on my fold. The question you've probably been asking yourself the entire video up until now has been answered. If this were my home defense firearm, I'd have left the red dot on it and Bob's your uncle. But because I wanted something with a little magnification that didn't break the bank so I could engage a little ducky target when out plinking with the crew, the budget Vortex Scout Scope has turned into a serviceable option that I'll continue to use until I find something both my eye and wallet can agree upon. This is a good spot to segue into what we're calling the charging handle wing face jab. One hard to miss part of that first magazine video was where I get hit in the face on the second shot by the charging handle of the firearm when the firearm recoils. That's a user technique issue, but it's one I'm sure I'm not the only one who experiences it. After it happened to me, when the rest of the crew tried the firearm, we were quick to warn someone if it looked like they were a little too face forward on the rifle. Another mentionable in this area is the lack of an adjustable stock. Outward appearances would lead people to believe this has an adjustable stock, but nay. What looks like a buffer tube is the area of the firearm where the massive bolt that absorbs the 9mm energy travels on this blowback firearm. This is a more tubular bolt compared to the giant brick of a bolt the Scorpion has, but in both firearms, that bolt is a massive amount of mass moving around and is what gives the firearm that recoil punching sensation. The design of the FPC puts the weight in a place that makes the firearm very heavy to the rear, and you can feel that bolt moving around under your face. When my shooting glasses come into contact with the stock while I'm shooting the firearm, I can feel that reverberate across my shooting glasses, and I find it very uncomfortable. If a version 2 of the FPC ever comes out, I'd like to see it have an adjustable stock capable of adding a little more length like we saw with the Scorpion in its first video clip. If I could extend the fold stock a click or two, I think the wing jab issue would be a non-issue. The final talking point on the agenda today is the fold itself. Hot dog style or hamburger style, do I think it's a gimmick? Absolutely. Not all gimmicks are bad, but they all aren't good either. Yes, it does make the firearm more compact in length for transport, but compared to the folding at the rear nature of other stocks, I didn't find I gained anything meaningful in that regard. But that's just my opinion. Outside of a slightly more compact in length case, and some Mall Ninja applications, I haven't found any other benefits to the fold. The folding nature probably adds more points of failure, so I could see the firearm potentially being less durable in certain situations versus others, like say the Scorpion, but that's again probably treading more into Mall Ninja than reality. With the question of why the Scout Scope out of the way, I'm sure many viewers are now asking the question of why not the new Smith & Wesson response? This is a great question and one I grappled with when trying to decide what to go with. It is also a great point to hang the conclusion from. Both similar and different from each other, the response would appear to address many of the challenges I encountered with the fold. A longer Picatinny rail setup for a wider variety of sights and optics options, though still optics ready, unfortunately. It also has an adjustable stock to help find a more comfortable experience. Knowing what I know now about the challenges I'd encounter with that rail setup on the FPC, do I wish I had bought the response instead? Occasionally, but most of the time no. The FPC is more affordably priced and comes with one more magazine. With both, you are going to have to buy sights or an optic. With the FPC, be mindful you don't have all the same options as other rifles and plan accordingly. A good store can help you find sights that fit your budget for an optics-ready rifle no matter what you buy. This channel also kind of likes gimmicks, so FPC it was. Well, anyway, we hope you liked this video. Thanks for watching, and as always, have a good day.